motion that gets it.
Is that the?
Don't anyone get killed on the side. We missed it yesterday, Sarah lost her phone.
Yeah, I heard Nick found.
After they came back, I was on the way to judge.
Ready for you, sir.
Okay. Tammy, I have 7 o'clock on the dot. We'll call the meeting to order. First order of business is previous minutes. Everybody have a chance to look over them.
I'll make the motion that we accept. the minutes that I'm out.
I'll second that. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I did have listen to corrections. Yeah,
Correct.
the second set. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Just posting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that will be the motion to accept the minutes as amended.
And those were already on the website.
Correct. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Yeah,
They must be coming to get their ticket.
yeah, I'm sure. Finances, Vera did send out a message saying that she won't be able to be here today. Matt also sent me a message saying that if he was gonna be able to make it, it would be late, as he is trying to get in this maybe final boil by the end of the day.
What about the other thing here asked about his signature for the audit?
Right, that is, I don't think that was sent to me.
He just was looking to, he said she could, but
Yeah, I don't see any reasons why she couldn't. That's again, one of those things where if to
Right.
somebody else, it's just waiting on somebody else to do it when they've already done all the other work for it.
right.
So I guess Todd, if you wouldn't mind making that a motion, would your mic, get your mic there?
I'll make a motion that we have Vera sign the audit paperwork for this year.
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of having Vera Lawyer be the signer for the audits for this year, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Comment, you did see Vera's email.
That's what we were discussing about, yeah.
Okay, but she wasn't sure she wanted to sign it because she wasn't present.
Right, but she double checked everything is what she said, correct?
Right.
She was uncomfortable signing it, but
Said she would if we didn't feel we wanted to go after.
okay, you talked to her.
Well, that's what her.
email said.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had talked to her about it at some point, so.
Yeah, my thought would be that if we've given her the go ahead.
Yeah.
Right, that's just as much our responsibility as it is hers at that point with us giving her that authority.
Well, add to it then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Passes 5-0. All right, do we want to take visitor? While we have, before we jump into, or before we look through the finances, or
Yeah.
give us a couple minutes here. Would you like to step up to the mic, sir, and introduce yourself? Is the green light on?
No, he's got to press the button that says press. It'll make a line green or a word, just push the word press. There you go.
So do I have to state my name and everything?
Do you have it already, Brenda? Okay, sorry.
I'm Miguel Churchill.
Yeah.
I'm here solely to voice my concern on the public welfare of our town roads and aggressive domesticated animals. And I'd like to know if there's anything that's going to be done about this, because I should not have to be afraid of riding my bicycle down town roads and being attacked by animals. If I was a kid, the kid would probably be dead. So anyways, that is it. I would like to know if there's gonna be
Were you the one that sent the letter?
My name's Lance Lawyer. I've been the one
Yep.
sort of dealing with it. I did contact the state police. I told them I was going to go up. I did. we don't have an animal control officer, and that I would go up acting as such, and they said, have you been trained? And I said, not specifically. But he said, well, you have not been trained, you can't write a citation, or you can't go up and confront him.
Hey, wait, back it up here. Can we all get on the same page? We don't even know what
It's a
you're talking
different, I
about.
believe it's a different instance.
I'm
of the
sorry.
email we received.
At least I know what's going.
Last week, Nigel,
And I've been,
was driving his bicycle on Witch Cat Road. At
I'd say Saturday around 5:30.
Saturday afternoon, yeah.
On the first, and
Yep.
I left my house at around 2:30, so I was probably got up there around 3:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got the call at 5:30.
And Eric, one of which is two German shepherds, came charging out and attacked him in the middle of the road in the town right away. They dragged him off his bicycle and,
No,
yeah,
Yeah, I have 37 or so open wounds.
Wow.
oh, so they attacked you.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
Down.
dragged off the bicycle. Anyhow, called the state police said this not their jurisdiction, they wouldn't come up.
They told me to.
I got hold of, they finally, instead of beating me up, they kept booting me down. I finally found someone that would talk to me, Trooper Farmer, and I've dealt with her before, she's a nice person and very competent. She said she's sorry, but she cannot respond. She hasn't even had this training and advised me not to. I said, what are we supposed to do? And they said, she suggested that we contact outside towns, either Fairfield or Enosburg. And I got hold of Enosburg's animal control officer. Her name is Dorothy Prescott.
Mhm.
Okay. She's now handling the case. I discussed this with Josh, and at least for this case, we are hiring her to handle this. Okay. If she has to board animals, it's neither here nor there for right now. It's not pertinent to this discussion, but she's going to.
Because
She does charge for boarding animals if she has. It's $10 a day per dog.
Was the owner of the animals notified?
the owner of the animals was there. He's the one that pulled the animals off of me.
And so what was his take on the whole thing?
He said, well, first of all, he apologized. I think it was superficial, quite honestly, because after I went to the hospital, I went back to get the rabies.
Right.
shots.
Yeah. Had they had shots?
They have, but one of them was out of date, which is why I think.
Get the word to dog.
You don't even, but my problem with that is he didn't show any paperwork to go with it. All he had was 2 tags and they're 3 years apart. For all we know, they could be the same dog. He had no paperwork to prove that those connecting those tags with those 2 dogs.
Yeah.
Are the dogs licensed?
So they're not licensed.
They're not licensed.
So-
And I actually am, I put myself at very high risk at my healthcare provider saying that I probably don't need to go through vaccinations for human beings, and so I haven't. But those dogs are supposed to be quarantined for 10 days.
Yeah, to see how they react. If they do.
But did you fill out the paperwork with the state for dog bites? There is mandatory paperwork we're supposed to fill out.
Yeah.
I believe if he went to the hospital, he should have taken down.
This is
Hospital calls here.
make it out.
The hospital will call here.
And we have to, because the health officer can help you, Ginger can help you with that, because she knows we went through that once before.
Hopefully Dorothy Prescott is handling that. She said she knew what to do and she'd take care of it.
We need to make sure that's done, because that gets documented so that the state has that on their records, that this dog bite took.
And it's even darker. Remember
Yeah.
that attacked someone in New York. And they called him asking for information. And we said we didn't have any dogs registered. No, German Shepherd, that owner. To that owner.
Oh,
They're the same dogs.
Yeah.
They're the same dogs. They also did, I think it was Newport. It was up near Newport, anywhere, somewhere. They also bit someone up there.
So you're the third bite,
That's the third.
So I want to be clear, I didn't get a bite, I get attacked.
right?
There's a difference in my mind. I've been bit by dogs before and they back off.
These
did not
dogs didn't
back
back
off.
off.
So where are those dogs again?
Witchcat Road.
840 Witchcat Road, was that what it is?
Yeah, I think so, something like that.
But because they're not licensed
840 Witchcat Road.
April 1st, can't we have those dogs?
We can't do anything because we have not gone through the state training. That's why he was talking about Dorothy Prescott, who we have. Lance called me. He was like, this needs to be dealt with immediately. There's referring to yourselves. There's an individual that is going to possibly have to go through the 9-shot system, which is not, it's painful from what I've heard.
I haven't started doing, but.
Yeah, so Lance called me. I said, if you have somebody that has the qualifications and is willing to do the job, do it, and we'll talk about it tonight.
Let's make a
Which is-
motion.
I was advised to not go up there now that I had already talked to the state police and they knew what was going on. I knew my intentions.
No, I know. It's in violation of not having them registered.
Yes, well, we can't write a citation.
Citation.
That's right.
This lady can.
Yes,
If we formally,
yes.
if we.
What's that lady's name?
Dorothy Prescott.
I will make a motion that we work with Dorothy Prescott on this one incident and then consider moving forward to have her be our contracted dog
Yeah,
catcher.
Josh and I had already.
Well, we get it.
See decision that day to get someone on it, and she did try and contact him. Nigel took pictures of the tags. He sent them to me. I sent them to Dorothy.
Let's work with her. She's the person that needs to do it.
I'll second Todd's motion.
Thank
Get it official.
You said that to work with Dorothy Prescott.
On this one, and then let's work towards getting her under contract to do that if she.
And that's basically the same thing with Josh and I, the conclusion that Josh and I came to. It wasn't sure. Yeah.
That's dog issue.
Right.
Yes.
Another biker.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was only talking about this one specific
Yeah.
instance, but I can
Right.
name many roads
Yeah.
that I ride my bicycle on that
Yeah.
I have to outrun dogs.
Yeah, you're not the only one, Nigel.
Outside of the village limits.
Still, there's gotta be some sort of legal ramification for people who can't control their dog.
I agree. Just saying, we don't have a policy that covers it.
Can we just finish the motion real quick?
Yeah.
Finish the motion. So it's made and seconded.
Yep, thank you, John. Motion has been made and seconded to hire Dorothy Prescott to deal with this issue at hand, and we will look into further hiring from this point. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Which that, Terry, but let me,
I have to ask a question though. What did she give us for a price?
it's $25 an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Just wondered just wondered if you did get an.
yeah. Savannah's $10 a day for. She does charge for mileage if it's excessive, and she said what, and I said the last I knew the going rate was 56 cents a
How
mile.
much of that gets charged to the owner versus?
Yeah, well, that's the second,
That's a civil suit.
that's the second half of it, I think.
That's a civil suit.
Unless you have an owner.
We don't have an ordinance that covers
We have an owner.
that specific. item, right.
Animal control ordinance covers the bite,
Yeah,
covers if we need, I believe it's in there, it says if we need to board the animal.
Yep.
Things like that. So I believe that if we were to roll back all this stuff, we should be able to, in the citation, write those into the citation. And by the way, in the citation, there's also fines and penalties not for having your dogs registered with the town,
right.
which is an epidemic in this town.
Yep.
I'll put it as an epidemic, or I don't want to say an ignorance, but people just are not licensing their dogs. And we don't have that information available.
Because there's no enforcement.
That, well,
That's
it's
correct.
part of it, yes.
That is,
Me too.
that's the root of it.
Started out.
And
That's the root of it, Terry. And I believe the ordinance, Terry, back to that. It says, no, it's not a leash law, but it says you have to have your animal under control.
There are ordinance states, I dealt with this last year in depth. Our ordinance states that the animal is not allowed to charge
right,
people
right.
off the property. They have to be under control and they're not allowed to enter the roadways. And every instance has it's not a ton of money. Every instance has a small penalty against it.
Right.
And then, of course, the fact that it has not been, those two dogs that have been in this town have not been registered for X amount of times also has a penalty against it. The only way we catch folks who don't register dogs, because we don't know everybody who owns a dog, obviously, is when an instance happens, and then we can go back and say, excuse me, you know, you've had this dog, it's, 4 or 5 years old, we don't have this dog on record at all for the last 4 or 5 years, and you're in violation of the.
Because it's a 4 or 5 year old dog doesn't mean somebody's owned it for 4 or 5 years.
That's so true. However,
Especially dogs that are probably in this situation, I'm not making excuses for the dog, but you don't know what kind of upbringing they've had before they were.
I know the dogs have been around there for a while because I've ridden my bike by them dogs many times and they've always been on a except for on last Saturday.
Yeah. Their neighbors, the DuPonts,
Yep.
they're friends of yours.
Yeah, they brought me home.
Yeah, were they witness to this?
They were not, they came in right after it all got done. The only
Okay.
witnesses was the owner, the dogs and me.
well, I think we should let Dorothy do her job, do her investigation, and then we go to that route. And for you, sir, I think your most important question is those dogs have the current rabies shot. I mean, honestly, and that requires the vet name. I don't know, do we have the name?
It should be on the tag.
Then the tags,
But
you should be able to call the vet to see if that tag. Tag
The tag should have, yeah.
Right, if both dogs have been.
dog in it, that vet will know that.
well, once it was out of date by 2000, it was 2019, so I think
Right.
rabies tag is only good for 3 years.
3 years.
Oops.
So,
But is it the same dog or have they, or did they give you the same
Yeah.
the tag for the same
Right.
one dog?
Well, he gave me 2 tags. I don't know. He-
Right.
Right, and that's not something you would know because her dog and my dog, I could bring 2 tags to you, but it could be for both for my dog, just one expired and one up to date, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So. Is that a picture? Have you shared that with Lance? Okay,
so I think we need to figure, and the other problem is, like, one individual, they went to Tractor Supply and had their dogs
His name on it.
got the rabies shot, so just because the tag is A, it may not be where.
It doesn't.
So I think it's finding out, yeah, the paperwork.
Okay, one of them did. Yeah. So on that yellow tag,
I'm not saying you.
No, I was trying to hit.
Yeah, it's several conversations, so we need to get the paperwork on the rabies shots.
okay, well. Yes,
The thoughts is one of them.
so that yellow tag in the picture has it says rabies vaccination, pause for thoughts, which I'm assuming is probably the veterinarian clinic.
That's that's 6'8",
Yeah.
the vet.
And then there's a telephone number there. If you call them with that tag number, they should be able to tell you what dog that belongs to.
Mhm.
And then, I mean, there's another one here.
It's done.
That is sure.
There's another one here, but there's no
Yeah. that's-
information on it.
Both for both.
What's that blue tag say?
It just says rabies vax 19-079.
Oh, boy, that one does not look too legit.
Well,
That
it-
2000.
I mean, it could be if it was one of the traveling vaccination clinics, because it wouldn't be like those are put on by the state, you can bring your dog there and get it vaccinated for.
Still have to have,
You just did go to the fire station. or-
Yeah.
but I think they still have to have a
There
contact.
could be something on the backside of it too. So
Side.
I would call them and, I mean, at least then you know
That is sure.
which one of the dogs is.
She's pretty good.
Yeah, that's my best suggestion right now. Tammy, could you also look into that? Again, it's pause for thoughts.
868.
Or the last 4.
4,300.
So if we get the information before you do, we'll,
She needs a tag number too.
you want me to read that for you? I'm not trying to be a smart.
Just. Please do. 02. I try to. So
8089. And that's for 2022, so we need. There is, but there's no identifying features on it as to who's it.
Did you happen to see the back side of the blue one?
I did.
It's a, just say it's a blue tag.
Just no dark.
Dated 2019.
Getting that.
-079.
She has that. She said she was taking care of this.
The only thing I can see.
She didn't respond to that.
Yeah, I'm just saying she should be able to tell us if the
Oh.
dog's heads a shot. She'll-
So
But even 2019,
if she calls, right, well, she's had the information for
And
Several days.
I
9
might also be able to look and see if he has other dogs that are, you know, if he got them both vaccinated at the same time,
Yeah, that's what.
that might be.
That might be the way.
it might be-
I think you explained.
So just so you understand that the quarantine period, they go like 10 days and they want to see if the dog dies, right? If the dog dies, it tells them they had rabies, so.
the dogs were seen today. They were out. Mr. Wendelich was out. And I couldn't find anybody to go up with me. I decided I shouldn't go up there alone.
I'm off this week, so if you want to do it, you can give me a holler.
I
I was gonna say,
as I said, the state troopers told me
to not.
No,
Yeah.
we just hired somebody for $25 an hour, so let her do her job.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
We'll let her.
Sorry it happened.
She comes back and then.
Down.
Because
Experience.
3 times those dogs have attacked.
Problem is,
she was the officer in charge of one of them.
Right,
She knew about this.
right.
the problem is all three of them would have to be documented.
It's to be done, absolutely.
Right.
Important. We do this report to the state.
Right.
They couldn't come in, because Mr. Wendelich was exposed.
But even if it didn't happen here, we should, when that gets reported that it's a dog from this town, we're supposed to keep track of those.
Your health officer should be notified if that's the one. But I could be wrong, to talk to Ginger, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure she'd know.
Well, because I know she doesn't want anything to do with animals.
But I think she has to do the report. on the
Okay,
white-
yeah,
I think.
as long as, yeah, okay. So I think your initial question was, is anything being done about it? I think we can confidently say yes. And
And not in a timely manner, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Want to voice my opinion.
yep,
Take my opinion. I'm gonna just- My voice to be heard.
yeah,
Yeah, no, totally.
Right.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it was probably just as bad. I didn't go up.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
You have a good evening.
Make sure you get followed up.
Really, I wanted to have the hospital card here, and that was the one off the avenue. That was the state trooper's wife that got bit on that one.
Oh, this
And
one's,
this is the hospital called the town hall, got the information they needed, and that was all I wanted.
yeah, 2 to 3 years ago, 2 years ago, right?
That's just, are you reporting this to the state? And the state.
Railroad, I get some of
That's
them-
his dog.
Dog. I got a cat. You had an orange cat, chase you?
No, I got.
So,
Thank you all.
thank you. Since we're on the discussion of the dogs.
Yeah.
I tried to get a hold of the owners of the dog down on 36 today.
Yep.
They actually got their brother who gave me their cell phone number and I left them a voicemail to call us regarding the incident on April 6th.
So you get a hold of Paul instead of Forrest.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that was the Celtics, yeah.
So those dogs are usually contained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually have an invisible fence there.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, that's for run through it, or they'll run through it.
And I would have to turn it
Down or something.
Or his batteries, bad in his car or something, but I
Some,
just leave a message I haven't heard back.
Okay.
I knew they had a fence.
So
Yeah.
Brody has a fence.
So again, while we're on the topic of dogs and we have made the motion to and accepted the motion to hire
Mhm.
Dorothy Prescott for this incident. Lance, you also got information. Could you just give us the rundown of what she was thinking if we wanted to hire her as our permanent, or for, at least for the year, you know, like they do every year.
Who Dorothy Prescott? It's not Dorothy Leach, right?
I don't know, Terry. I'm sorry.
I mean, I usually don't know.
Comments about her from folks.
Okay. If we had, you're doing Facebook,
It's gonna,
you listening?
Yes.
doesn't work.
Okay. We discussed the possibility of hiring her. She wanted $5 a day for cats. 56 cents a mile for mileage, $10 a day for dogs. Bills for food, any food that she had to buy, she'd keep the slips and submit them for repayment. Looking for a monthly retainer based on 3 calls a month at $25 an hour. And I know how much time that I've spent, Josh has spent, John has spent in the past year doing that, and they came up with about $325 a month as a retainer. And that was conditional upon a review at 6 months. 325.
And that's if you.
Well,
that's
geez,
just 3 calls a month.
Maybe if we're in a
That's about 3 calls a month, yeah.
town.
Well, here's the problem with getting somebody in town, then we have to pay to send them out to get them certified.
Right.
Oh.
Same thing with a constable. I mean, we can get somebody to run for constable here, but
Trying to get somebody to come and tell. Not a constable. Second constable is basically animal control. We can't get anybody that wants to do it, Terry.
Right.
No, I know.
You have to be able to have somebody that's
Pay them.
Well, even if you, it's.
They are. It is a paid position. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah.
I have to run for it now.
We'll send you down to Pittsburgh for your training,
I'm going again on the 21st of April,
for your dog catcher training.
dog training. Don't know if it's catcher.
I was gonna say, well,
My about one.
Let's wait and see if that's what I'm getting for the training. We'll just explain it's as much about writing citations and
I'm sure.
that's the problem.
so here's the question. If we are, so we're gonna pay $325 a month, perfectly, you know, plus fees. Should we not look at our findings?
We need to increase our fines.
And a half.
I think our fines are probably from the,
I think you're gonna have to redo. I think you're gonna have to redo everything from the ordinance rate to the fines.
which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It's just, if we're gonna have a legitimate dog catcher that's going to actually follow these guidelines. Yeah, if we actually have somebody enforcing laws, I think our laws should be up to date and
Mhm.
sufficient. I mean, if you told me I was gonna get a $5 fine for my dog chasing somebody down the road, yeah, okay, yeah. That's exactly it. Just pay me ahead a couple. That's just personal opinion. I think they need to be adjusted accordingly.
If I remember, I think those ordinances are about 23 years old.
I would, yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
2000, they're updated, the last update, and we really do need to look at, because they have no bite.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah, that was a terrible pun right there.
That is.
That was bad. All right, so we are looking for a motion to hire Dorothy Prescott.
We did.
That was for this one,
Put it to look, oh, you need to
So, yeah,
earn them.
now that we have the figures, because I knew Lance had the figures, so
No,
we go with that one. Now we can,
Just offer her the position.
offer the position.
yes,
The stipend, just a question, the stipend, that would be any fees that were generated that month would come out of the stipend. If the stipend is not used, it's just a stipend, she gets it anyhow, right?
Correct.
Yes.
part of the contract.
Yeah, it's, you're basically,
Huh?
Fees coming out of the stipend?
So let's say this instance here, we put her under a stipend, let's say this hasn't happened yet, we say, hey, here's your $325 for April, by the way. We have a dog blade incident, she goes and looks, the first thing that gets charged is the stipend. So if it was $25 an hour and she spent 3 hours working on it, or 5 or whatever, you know, she would take it out of the $325 first until it was exhausted, and then we would pay additional, is that correct?
Yes, that's the way I understood it, yeah.
That's all I wanted to.
Oh, the other thing that I would like to point out is any,
No,
Explain that to me one more time, please.
We'll pay the $325 whether she catches 3 dogs or 0 dogs.
Correct.
Right, so she takes more hours than the 3, if she, what's that, 4, 8, 12, 13 hours, it's equates to 13 hours a month is what we're giving her. At $25 an hour,
mhm,
right?
yeah,
So what I want to make sure is that any instances that happen in that month that are less than 13 hours is covered by the $325.
for the first 13 hours. is
Covered under the
And
$320.
if we work 15 hours, we over 2 additional hours.
Correct,
That wasn't an issue to her. I think you're, she was gonna do what it was. And figure out how many hours she actually worked at 6 months, and if she felt she needed more money at 6 months, she would ask for it on review.
Is it a flat rate
Yes,
as far as the $325,
Yes.
$3?
that's what she's looking for.
So she spends 20 hours on one dog and 20 hours on the other and 20 on the next, it's 60 hours.
And it's 6 months or earlier, she's gonna come here and say, sorry,
Yeah.
this isn't working, we need to change our agreement.
okay.
That's what Don
And I think what John was asking is, right, is what you're asking. Okay,
So it's a flat rate contract right
Yes.
now.
okay.
The first
The
thing,
expenses above and beyond that $325 are boarding,
Yep.
travel,
right,
and food.
Yeah.
And any other incidentals you need to have to board the animals, so.
Okay.
and I think
Bless
that's
you.
what she was.
Josh, it's. the
The other thing I would. The other thing I would ask of Dorothy is, I'm sure she's doing it for Enosburg, there's some form of a report. When this.
Yes,
when she has to-
yes.
So we know.
Yes.
And what's, I mean, I know where the ticket book is. We talked about it. So, okay. I'm
So
like-
we need to keep that report here.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
my little thing is, when these tickets are written, which I hope she is very.
Yep.
Quick with the ticket book. Those tickets will help to offset that monthly cost.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, so if they, well, no, I don't even, well, I hope we're not gonna capture it all, to be honest with you.
That's not like a traffic. Right?
Yes, it is.
Here,
A town, we're in the book.
Create a ticket book for the town, yeah.
We just,
You're gonna hear before someone to plead guilty or not, or they're gonna.
We're going to fine you, and if you want to argue the fine, I guess you can come to the select board and argue the fine.
I guess that's the question, is who is the board that they're coming?
I think it would have to be us.
It would be, I think,
Yeah.
but I think what we need to do. Soon as possible is rework the fines,
No, I agree.
Yeah.
so we need to look
I
at
would
this.
suggest looking in Enosburg and see what they're doing right now, maybe just use that.
Right,
Lance, would you be willing to ask her to get us a copy of Emmitsburg's ordinances? So, still looking for the motion to accept her on a 6-month trial basis.
I'll make a motion to accept Dorothy, what's her last name, Prescott?
Yes,
Dorothy Prescott on a 6-month basis for the first 6 months, for $325 a month. Flat fee.
I will second that.
Do it with your mic on.
less expenses.
plus-
I will second that.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have ourselves an animal control officer for the first time since I have been on board.
No, she hasn't accepted yet.
Okay, we potentially have a certified animal control officer.
Now, as long as we're in the mention of dogs, Kevin Curley called up and had it's nothing major, but he works the same hours that most people work during the day. And has a hard time getting to the town clerk's office. His wife is partially disabled and can't drive. And so he was asking for a drop box. And this is not the first time. We've had several people ask for that, and I'm just passing it along.
Is there any way to put like a slot in the door or something?
That's-
That's what I think do.
I think a Dropbox for any and all.
Yep.
You know, if it's, you know, the ATV stickers, the dog licenses, I mean. If we can have all those forms available on their website, and they can be printed and filled out with a check and dropped in the Dropbox.
Yep.
I think that is a completely reasonable ask, and I think. I'm willing to make a motion that we have a Dropbox slot in the door cut and installed as soon as possible for.
Would you want to do that, or would you want to try to do something? Fairfields is not in their door.
Like a.
Like a mailbox.
I'm
really concerned with the-
thing.
Security.
It's not in this mailbox.
Like that.
Something. Nope, you couldn't.
So it's like, it's anchored into the ground.
Must be then.
My only concern there would be thievery. I mean, if you know, I mean. I personally think that everybody in our town is clever enough to pay with check,
Yeah.
not cash.
Why not?
But if one person thinks that there may be $20 cash in there, right, it would be worth going after it with a baseball bat. Whereas a slot in the door that comes into a basket. So that's what it's just.
On the door, something that.
Just you have to have a flat, yeah. I mean,
The pro.
Huh?
we're not saying a 4x8 basket hanging off the door.
So it's gonna be, you have to do something to the side where it comes into a locked box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just.
It's only have secure drop boxes.
Concern is there's a big pane of glass,
Yeah.
right? So anything we do that doesn't have a locked sealed box on the other side of it, it can hang off the door, it can hang off the bathroom wall, I don't care.
Do it
But
this way.
because that pane of glass,
Yeah.
it's to your point, John, do something, bust the glass and then just smack at the thing until they get into it.
Yeah.
So
We hang a steel box to the wall and put a padlock on the outside, so you're only padlock accessible. I would think that,
Can see what there is available.
Right.
See
can.
what we've, what options are.
I think that's the key.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, I'm not.
You could, I don't know if you can see it. Fairfields,
There's a one,
$40. And go up from there.
depends on how big you want.
Right.
because you could put it by our steps.
This one here,
You put it right on the wall.
$1,500, you can get on the size of one of those rooms.
To work with, we don't have much wall to work with.
Grease board was.
Hmm?
The one
Like a dry erase board there.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying.
You need something big enough to put.
Big wall.
But it's big enough.
Why don't we take this away from this meeting and figure it out, because we're not making tread on it right now.
We started at the office, but we had a,
Exactly. Something like that, it was okay to start with.
I
picture of Fairfields.
I was saying, that one
Yeah.
goes through the door there, but,
yeah,
It's up to get second.
it has not been seconded yet.
with the motion.
No, we'll offer her the position.
Who's voting on that?
Did we vote on that?
Getting a drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made the motion to drive. We already voted on it.
So you were making a motion on the drop.
Right, and then we're having a discussion, and now we're gonna wait on that,
Okay.
because there's too many options and.
That's fine.
We're,
That's why I'm sure if it got second.
we're in
Right.
investigation.
Investigation mode. As you can tell, everybody's on their phones looking for it right now.
All right. Moving on.
Yep. Moving fast, nope.
Nope.
So, Matt was not here today. He's taking care of his sugaring operation, as we know, that's pretty seasonal. Across the treasurer.
So Dan Florian's on here, right?
Yeah, Dan's on.
Cause I didn't have
So
a chance to ask to
what Max said to me was,
maybe here.
he says, just let me know. Just let me know. I probably won't make it to the meeting. If I do, it'll be late. If there are any concerns, you can shoot me a text at this number. Because he's gonna be boiling. So if we have any concerns, all we gotta do is let him know and he'll look into them.
I want to know what they did with Waterville Mountain Road.
I know that,
Sister. And
So-
to get out of the car.
Yep.
Get through.
So
I
that,
got on Friday.
yep. Okay, so has anything,
It sounded like he wasn't gonna go up Friday, which he didn't, obviously, because they came over at Saturday.
I thought that Dan, didn't you guys grade Woodville?
this would have been more than,
More than a grade.
No, this is the ditch running across the road.
Oh. Well, I know we were working on the roads, on Friday.
they were, yeah,
They were.
Mac was running.
For some reason,
He told me that, he did ask me, and I gave him an answer on this.
Yeah.
He wanted to know if we wanted him road, what they do for the week, you know, like the report they give us on the book. We want to know if they should lump, or if they could lump the two graders together for grader work, or if they should record them separately. I said record them separately,
Yeah.
that way if anybody comes in and says,
Yep.
what are you doing with that grader? We can say,
Yeah.
this is what's being done with the grader.
did somebody answer us up there?
Yeah,
It says,
we graded to the
we
gate
Yeah.
and
checked it today and the
it's supposed to be.
road was pretty good. It's muddy.
What about the washout at the bottom? At Grandpa's,
On the other side.
is it on the other side or is it at Grandpa's driveway? Because that's where I figured it was, at Grandpa's driveway there where the brook comes down to the house.
Right, it's closed.
Yeah, which is, that's where the trucks turn around is Grandpa's driveway. Yeah,
It's a culvert.
right, which the water comes down the mountain so fast right there. It just, it goes over the culvert and comes across. We looked at it today. It isn't worth going up, I think.
We, whether we're going up or not, Josh, we need to put something to warn people. that
Right.
We're gonna end up in a lawsuit, because if someone gets in an accident because of that.
I hope
we're gonna eat-
talking about the same location, because my sister said it was bad.
On Friday though, right?
No, Saturday.
Well,
Friday, the picture they had on Facebook, which I can't get on here.
No, I saw
Did you
it.
see it?
Yeah. Now let's keep in
She
mind,
said one.
that is a class 4 road.
It is, but we still are aware of it, and if we don't take something
He says,
to warn people of it,
he says it's easily possible.
yeah.
And I said, are we talking about the washout? And he said, yes. He says it's only a couple inches deep.
She said it looked like somebody at one point had put sticks in it.
Sticks.
a lot of times that's when we start sinkholing it, people jam a stick in, so you see it like a visual.
You know what I'm saying? There's something here to.
No, I'm texting him right now. Can we pull a couple,
Well, just a picture.
rings,
We don't want to end up.
What's the other thing I see first?
cover
So-
our. I won't say that last word.
Yes, it is a class where people come over.
Yeah, I know, but by.
Completely cut it off. That's again.
Sport?
From Grandpa's driveway to the top is class 4.
I didn't know.
I do that, yeah.
That's why that road is not possible. Bottom of Bears Downhill,
Right. It was done, yeah.
right? That's what I've always learned.
So I'm saying we don't put barriers.
You know, we just pack the snow against the end of. When
Once
Right.
the snow's gone.
then it's a travel at your own risk, like all of our class 4 roads are, but. He says from the top from Don's Camp Road to Waterville is slimy, but not a problem. I'll put signs up tomorrow.
There we go. That's all we need.
Here we go. And like he promised, he was completely reachable.
Yep.
That was me.
Oh, okay.
No, Dan was typing in the message for us, but then Mac took over.
Road, if was there any other road issues? I haven't heard of anything.
Honestly, they were great.
You say there's still areas that are still, yeah, sloppy because they're ready to thaw out. And that's the seaside.
Lawyer Road's a little bit snotty right now. Yeah.
It's the only place.
That's the only spot.
So the sun can't get to it.
Actually impressed with King Road.
Yep.
It wasn't, I mean, it's usually really bad right now and it's not bad at all, really.
About a month ago, when the snow stopped flying, I asked Mac about hauling stone.
Yeah.
And
They've been hard and they've been.
Yeah.
They've been, I saw there was a hell of a slot by there, so you know, the more prepared we are for stuff like that, the better it'll be.
I've been very impressed with them this year. All right, treasurer's report position update. There is no update because there is nothing.
Yeah.
Wanted to run it again, nice and late.
Yeah. I've reached out to a couple people and the same question keeps getting asked, what's the pay?
Yeah.
And you know,
What's your skills?
well, and that's what I've said, and the response to that has been again, well, I don't know what the job entails.
Which is.
Which is true, yeah.
Concerned.
Huh?
We're a little concerned. I mean, if they're already, they should know what the job entails.
Well, some of them are and some of them aren't.
You know, that's why we say depending upon experience, but there's a isn't there a job description of treasurer?
Put the hours, I thought, and you put a range of pay. I don't know if you put an actual pay. But
I don't think we put pay in there at all.
it made my
Yeah.
brain a little-
No, at the school.
They're down there still. They never came down.
So,
That timer.
As for, I think it's actually in the notes. Did you print out that document for me from the gentleman who answered about the treasure spot? I forwarded you the email.
Where do I feel like I saw that somewhere?
Okay, we should probably.
It's in here.
So I asked the question that was put forth to me, which was about the salary.
Treasurer's salary question.
Do you have it?
Seems like it's right here.
Okay. Pass this down, me, please.
I have a question on one.
Yeah.
So
Who's asking this question?
who's asking? I asked the question of VLTC regarding the pay for the treasurer. If it could be converted to an hourly versus a salary spot, which was something we talked about a while back, and I did get an answer from Carl Andier.
Okay,
And Carl says changing the to an hourly rate probably does not need to be done through another town meeting vote, which was one of the discussions. It could be necessary depending on how our specific budget shows treasurer's compensation. If the budget shows a more general line item, there's just an amount for the treasurer's office or it says an amount for compensation pay for the treasurer. I don't think the select board needs to go back to voters to change it to an hourly rate. And Carl is the staff attorney number 2 for the Municipal Assistance Center, Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns. Forwarded that off. If we,
so this one,
yeah,
so this one that I got that was about treasurer's salary was back when Maria asked
Mhm.
and did not like our answer, so she went to the state of Vermont.
Secretary of State.
Right, yeah.
and then she,
So are you talking about changing it from hourly
For salary.
From-
to a salary?
from salary, which is what we had talked about when Maria was asking for that raise, but we had no documentation for her the hours that were being
Right.
attributed, so we said we will give you, if you were working X number of hours, you would get this as a salary, but at this point, if we switch you to hourly, it's gonna hold you accountable to your hours.
Right.
This question that was sent says, well, can they do that, or does it have to be voted on? The question, the answer there would be, it's not voted on because it's an appointed, it's not an appointed position, it's now a hired position.
Right, well, it's appointed.
It's not
Elected.
elected.
It's appointed. So she is actually, he or she is actually an employee now of the town.
Correct.
So we can decide if at any point whether you want it to go hourly or salary.
But that is,
But if you go
that was not Vera's question.
set hours.
Right, but that was not Vera's question. I was looking at it and reading it, and I didn't see the date, which is January 24th, because it came in the new mail,
Right.
Oh,
so. So treasurer position update, no new applicants. Grant writing proposed update. John, you sent us a thing.
From the gentleman, I forwarded you all an email. What is his name? I'm sorry, Alex.
Aaron? No,
Alex.
Alex. Yep,
Yeah,
Alex.
Now he's gonna see that I don't know his name on the recording. Way to go.
I don't know if you-
It's Alex. That's right. Alex did send over a couple drafts, proposals. Did everyone have an opportunity to review them? I forwarded them.
Open what you give me. I don't know why I can't.
The PDFs and Word docs.
But when I hit it, it's.
She's trying to do it on her phone, probably. Is it on your phone? Probably.
It may not, you may not have something that reads it on your phone. You probably
Yeah.
look at it on the computer.
So the only thing I could recommend is downloading, like a Google.
Yep.
Google Doc.
Google Doc. Google allows you to download it through that if it's in a PDF form.
Then they probably won't
Correct.
use this. I'll wait for them.
That's probably true. Yeah. The same thing on here.
Right.
If you download the Google Doc, that's where it's through. Well, you know what? My next suggestion would be is get your own damn phone. So. So he sent a couple of proposals. Did anybody? See one that jumped out and you're like, yeah, that's what we want to go with?
Well, I was looking at several different proposals. Well, Todd, did you do something?
No, I was just gonna say, I looked at this, I think if I remember right, correct me, Don, is, one proposal was like a trial period.
Correct.
And the other was a full contract, if I remember right.
Yeah, one's the short term.
Yeah.
Yep,
And we already decided we would give them a shot on short term with the one,
correct.
which I think that's what we want to do. You know, I know he was looking for, 8 hours a week and so much, $20,000 in a year. I think the idea was we were going to see how the first one came out, and we do have the one for the municipal repairs to municipal buildings. I think that's what we should use them for.
Shows that you can do what you're telling us you can do,
Right.
and then we'll, go from there,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, but without, I agree, without actually seeing what he can do and the quality of his work and what his results are.
Right.
I don't want to enter into a long-term contract with him.
That's the way I look at
And I've actually, through the school system, there's a couple other people in the area that write grants.
Yeah.
And they've been writing them for towns also.
it. Enosburg has one now.
They may be worth giving a shot too,
Yep.
it's, if we can.
I'll put it out there, really.
No, exactly. So I think. Personal opinion here would be John reaches out to Alex and says, this is the grant that we would like you to
Like,
pursue.
Right.
In Lance. Oh, I'm sorry. In the aspect that we would like to apply for X number of dollars, which would be enough to replace this furnace, the furnace down at the garage, and the furnace at the Academy Library.
Correct.
Is it North Station or South Station?
No, there's, I just happened to think, we didn't mention the North Station last time.
Is that one
I
bad?
think this station probably needs.
Okay, so if we can get a price on all four.
Garage, North Station Highway.
Correct. Station. Yeah, he's town garage, town hall,
They're all furnaces.
Yes.
all furnaces,
I think we should,
Or heating system.
yeah.
do we want to, I mean, if the library, and I'm kind of treading it, well, we'll talk about that during ARPA. We'll talk about that on the side.
Well, I think if we put in this grant system, I think if we put in enough money to replace all of those. I think it's one of those, if you don't use it, you lose it. So if we replace 3 out of the 4 furnaces,
Then you won't.
then we pay them back the portion we don't use.
Right.
Yep.
Probably should ask.
So. Does that sound, that's my personal opinion as to what we should do,
Have the garage north,
if that's,
north station.
Need a move.
yeah. I believe we do, but we also need somebody to come in and give us a quote on all
It's
those
the old gas
locations.
station.
John.
I'll write it down.
No, well, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
The other part of that would be, we need you back on the horn with those heating companies. To get us a quote for all 4 locations, so that we know what the number is that we're gonna be looking for.
So let me ask this, are
Yep.
we looking to power this stuff electrically or oil?
Oil.
Oil burners.
I would say you'd want to get it for both.
Yes, you would, you're the electric company.
Right? That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Fuels are going up, obviously, we all know they come with the price.
Ah, solar panels on the roof.
I mean, it's to bring like out of library to be heat pumps. Because it's a small location.
It's a small location.
I can see why that would be. I think. Restoration company is gonna give you their best opinion.
It's be a case where we should call Efficiency Vermont.
That's probably gonna save you money.
Tell ya.
Yep.
They're gonna look at us a lot nicer
If you do
if you're
something
not
like
using
those.
fossil fuels.
Mm. But natural gas doesn't run through Bakersfield yet.
Well, I would say, you know, with this building, we gotta upgrade the electric service to the building.
Yeah.
If we're using.
We've been down this rabbit hole like 5 times. You can't heat this building with electric heat.
Not heat pumps, electric boiler
Heat pumps, you might be able to do that solar, but there's no.
Huh.
versus oil furnace.
solar would work on your-
No. No,
That's what
I don't know if you've ever been in the
the purpose is.
country store.
It should.
I have not. He tells me he heats that whole store with a heat pump
It's not that you can't heat with a heat
and
pump.
it costs hardly anything
It's not that you can't heat with a heat pump.
since
Where's his power come from?
he must be VC, I would say. Cause then Franklin doesn't have their own power, they
No.
still have their own phone, but I think power get
Yeah.
bought
Yeah,
by VC.
we can heat everything with heat pumps. The problem is you still need new furnaces.
Yeah.
Because when the heat pumps when it gets too cold outside, and albeit we've had a very nice winter.
This year.
This year, unless you're a skier or something,
No.
in the colder winters, heat pumps can't keep up in a building. In this room, it would take, they told me,
Oh, this is high.
this would take 2 or 3 heat pumps to heat this room. And then when you get down below 10, I think they said 10 or 10 degrees,
Somewhere.
you gotta turn on the building heat.
I
It's
don't
just-
know if I believe that.
Not anymore, the new ones are, they're lower now, they're down below 0, actually, because we need electricity to preheat the air.
Right.
So they can go lower with it now than they used to.
So I
That was
just
the
call-
original.
I just call the heating guys, you know what I mean? Like, I call heating companies. I assume they know
I don't think
different
efficiency
systems.
wants the way to go.
Heat pumps,
Have somebody tell you what's the best way to do it.
right. The only other concern they have with heat pumps is we would have to build structures on the outside of the building to cover the condensing units.
Yeah, because of the snow.
Lights on how to do something efficient.
Thing.
Shed or lean to, whatever you want to call it, it's got to cover the condensers. Anyhow,
So
I will make calls.
I think efficiency Vermont is the first call.
Yep.
Have them visit all 4 buildings.
They'd probably help us change lights.
I mean, definitely.
No,
I know it would.
I would go for a total energy efficient update.
That's what this, by the way, that's exactly what this grant is for.
That's why I'd have them.
So, I mean, if we call the state, they come, in, they should be able to ballpark it, and that's what we get to Alex for a request from their grant system,
Went it to school.
right?
Years ago, we had Efficiency Vermont come in when I was on the school board. They came in and they went right straight to the school. That's when they had us do the windows, they did a whole write-up of it. The attic,
Because everybody I've ever talked to that went in that attic said that that is the most disgraceful piece of
They were supposed to.
insulation and everything that's ever been done.
the fire, the firewall,
Yeah.
there was no firewall that
No, they
had
ended
put
up
in.
issuing blown in, they didn't do the other.
Yeah.
About that.
There's supposed to be a fence.
Are there. Make the calls. Make the calls. Right. And yes, once we have a number, we can send out,
Chase it down. All right.
18 stickers.
They did that. already.
That's good.
Call, some people stopped in. Now, the question is, you said something about repurposing the rest of the yellows.
I thought we said for the price of doing them, just reprint new ones.
Well, that, I've never heard that.
Yeah. Should be in our minutes.
It's not, because I put it. Do anything with that.
I said, go ahead and order them, because if they could withstand the most, I think the goddamn 30%. Gee,
Yeah, I think there was only 500 stickers, it was like $50 or something. Yeah, order them.
And we didn't even get to 200 this year.
There you go.
So 200 stickers?
Sure. Well, I mean, 250.
250?
If we only 500 for $75 and 10 people coming by and we've got our money back, we can throw the rest of the damn things away if that's what it comes to.
You write the year in.
Yeah. Yeah, can you do them on the wire?
Yeah,
Just a different color.
you need a different color.
You're in.
Yeah.
That's true.
They go.
I would just say order 500. I don't know what color we go with first year. Orange.
Green.
Then we're gonna have a 20-minute discussion on the color.
All right. Promotion. There. No, yeah. I feel like an auctioneer here. You're not. This guy's
Okay,
green.
500
So.
or 300. I'll try. for
Try for 3.
Okay.
We sell 250.
If you have to order 5, as you said, if you sell 10 tickets, you paid for it.
See, I can always order 100 more.
There you go.
There you go.
I like that.
Oh, there we go. 18 stickers, John. Warrants and reports are around. Everybody's had a chance.
I have a question,
Yeah. You didn't read John's email, did you?
I would say that.
John's email,
Okay.
and John, I agreed with John's email, because that's what I told you at the meeting. But when you guys voted, you voted to pay for Tammy up to March 15th, and then it was supposed to be done. And it looks like John hired her again.
I put a motion.
His motion was for the last meeting in April.
You just signed up, you just.
I'm gonna have to read that again.
Yeah.
Signed it.
Yeah, you don't have to sign it if you don't want. That's perfectly fine. There was the discussion, though.
Because I didn't remember.
Okay, that's why. That's stuff there. That's.
The amount that we take.
What Terry's saying now.
No, she's checking it. No, Terry's reviewing the minutes. That's all it needs to say. I thought.
Because that's not how I read it at all.
Yeah, I made a motion at the last meeting I asked for permission to use her one more time for the April 4th meeting. I spelled it out and
Yep.
so that she was compensated.
You're the only one that was, yeah, so I always do it last,
And we could be right.
just in case.
Give
it to you.
Tell you.
You let me know when you find it.
So.
Bring Academy update. That is.
Society is still interested, and that's the only report I have. Sorry.
Paperless. If I had paper notes.
I did get a message that, so we're still working on it and still interested. So,
The update.
Yeah, so for the Academy update, I do have one thing. Yeah. I talked to. Patrick. I don't even, so, yeah, I don't know how many times I tried to reach out to him.
Now, who's this, John?
This is the grant administrator guy.
for Gears grants.
For the Gears grants.
Yep.
So in the past, we were under the impression that I had to be the signer because I was the select board chair.
Mhm.
No.
Upon
That I was the signer.
correct. Upon talking to him, And being extremely fed up with the gear system, which Lance can actually navigate better than I can, which makes me feel good that Lance can do that. Good, I'm glad. So Lance is uploading all the information from the Brigham Academy.
Yeah.
Which is all the information, and the only thing Lance can't do is sign his name to it saying that he uploaded it. So.
Well, he's on the select board now, so
Right.
he'd be able to, right?
Right, so what I'm asking for is names, signatures here saying that Lance is, well, by doing the paper, it is the motion, yep, and then I'm gonna give it to Lance and he can update it, upload it somehow, I don't know.
I'll sign
So there's two names going on this. The first one is Lance.
Yep.
The second one is Kathy Lavoy, who is our regional person, right? And then-
She works for Northwest Regional Planning Commission. She is our
right,
liaison for this project.
it. No, I'll make.
doesn't each person overall administrative responsibilities for the BCDP. Who is
I'm gonna have to get, I want paper copies.
is the town manager or city or town administrator? Oh, yeah, then,
Town website?
so,
To the email.
Oh, just go to the town website, Captain. Here, they're all posted.
Yeah, they're posted there.
I hate Xfinity. I don't know why it doesn't let me in, but it will not let me in.
CP administrator.
Hmm.
Should I just write that?
Mhm.
PC.
It's to your tablet.
Well, we can't, let's see. Oh,
This is the one that,
yeah,
That's it, you gotta get your own. Hey, Josh,
can't afford one.
if you go to Verizon, with your own phone, they'll give you a free tablet and a free watch right now. Get your own Verizon phone. No, go get your own.
I just bought a Verizon phone. They didn't give me anything like that.
oh my God. I'm drawing a serious blank on your last name. How bad is that right now? That was bad.
No photographs.
What?
Here you go, Terry. I got it right here. I got it on the town.
Oh, goodness.
All we need here is,
That does get stuff every time.
yeah, what?
Stuff up those.
Okay, so you asked names, signatures that Lance and Catherine LaVoy have the authority to sign for grants
For this particular project,
or,
for the Brigham
Academy.
Academy Imagine project.
okay,
I didn't come up with a name.
Imagine all the people.
okay.
Passed this the 10th day of April,
The year of our Lord.
2023. Type name, someone we type, because guess what? It's going in. I think the only person that can't sign this is Lance, but I'm not 100%. John?
Yeah, I'll sign that. Thank you.
Actually, I can sign it.
Yeah, I think you can, because you're
Down there.
Type name? Yeah, sure.
yeah. This should put us into.
Hopefully, you start getting money back.
That was these things that I was,
And these all things, well, that's it, then put some like next week.
What else we got? Have we found the part of the meeting minutes yet?
She's reading them right now.
Okay.
I was towards the end of the meeting too.
It was, yeah, because it was at the other section.
Getting your paperwork from Brenda.
Now, because, well,
Oh, yeah, that's.
other ARPA, Brenda, one has been taking care of her family. She's had some issues happening. And two, every one of these have been updated. So getting the original paperwork really is a moot point.
I remember he asked that, all the organizations resubmit.
No, I
So
know.
yeah, so
It's not a mute point is the fact that we paid her. That's
no,
not,
no, that's an entirely different subject, yeah.
And the last time I spoke to Brenda, she said, I'm sure it's in a box somewhere in the town hall.
Where are we on getting a report from her as the zoning administrator on what's going on with zoning, at least once a month, either at the end of the end of the month or the beginning of the month?
I guess we have to request it. That's actually something the planning commission has. She gives a kind of report to planning.
So
I don't know if we've ever required it.
I would think
Before
we
she
want to be
said-
aware of it, at least what's going on.
But she does supposedly,
Sometimes, I mean, she'll show up because of the stuff, but I don't think
I
that's.
think it's just a way of looking at the hours that are being expended and what's being done.
Some guidance and then just
Yeah, I didn't know. how to-
overlay, which I wasn't sure if they had, I wasn't scrolling through the 4 pages to see if there was a signature page. But it's all off, so that's all 3 pages.
An update.
All 3 documents.
Oh,
You know, projects. Yeah.
Thank you.
General information. And this is what I've been working.
I'll be more with you there.
Yeah.
So
It keeps the board aware of what's going on as far as buildings in the town. It's that we may have a question on that we didn't realize about.
I think
So there were the things.
I think that's a great idea. I think we have asked for the treasurer's report
at the first of the
at
month,
the first. So if we asked for a zoning report at the second meeting of the month,
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I don't think that needs to be a motion or anything. I think we can ask Tammy to pass along our request.
I'm with you.
And if there's any concerns with the request, show up at the second meeting of the month to discuss them.
No, that's what I'm just thinking.
Which goes up to what we want to.
Need to discuss regular zoning commission.
Yes, that can be discussed at that point. Yeah.
That's all right.
5 and 26 and 9 and 12.
This lady selection.
Those are now on 24 outside. Yep.
Well.
You feel like this if you talk, right?
Right, that's what it is. All right, everything we've gone through to this point. Once,
Well, we didn't just review in the mail.
yeah, we did.
All right.
It's all kind of been gone through as we went because it touched on all the subjects that we touched on throughout.
Not a problem.
I got stuff.
So do I.
You can go ahead.
Well, it's just, the ARPA, just a quick update, not with what we're doing next.
Yeah.
One, I did, just so everybody knows, we mounted the bracket, those brackets I was unable to pay for, no one was there. So they are,
Yep.
so they're gonna build the town for the bracket,
And I,
not the TV bracket, I bought that for us, but the U joints.
What I told John was, he bought them through Valancourt's Repair.
Yeah.
So if we have to have $20 transferred from the ARPA fund to the garage, you know, the road crew, because that's, I'm sure, what the. Then do it. It's a simple signature on the card. For that. I mean, that's.
So second ARPA update, I received from Vera the expenditures that we had in 2022 from April 1st through till the end of last month, and that has to be reported.
Yeah.
So I went out the next day, watched the video, and then I expended all the money. I didn't expense. It's a little bit less than this, but the $7,300, I committed all the money underneath one bucket, as they say, because we received less than $10 million. So it's all been expended.
Yep.
Right, and it is ready for expenditure, committing to whatever we decide to commit it to.
So it's been committed to the general fund at this point for.
It's not the general fund, but in the government side, we put it through, expense for government services is like the overall umbrella it's under. We have available, the other thing, we had $389,000 plus. We were reporting the interest on this. They don't care about the interest. That's That's not the reporting. They want to know what we did with the money they gave us. So, money was all set up for, we've now counted for 2021. It wasn't reported because it was so low, it was reported in a different manner. So I just pulled it all in. It's all reported, it's all done. We're good. And then as we, next April, we can do more. If needed.
Okay. Any others?
Yeah.
Did you also read it? Do you guys want to see the expenditures?
Find it, John.
Yeah, what's that?
I did find your motion.
Thank you. This
So-
is all paperwork for you.
Yeah, so Tammy has others. Yeah,
So there's an open meeting law class for $10 through passive VLCT that I'd like to take. The planning commission has a ton of questions about
Open meeting.
some of the planning commission members about when we can have meetings. They have to be the same day every month.
They just sent me a free one. Didn't they send us a free one when we did that course?
One of
This was open
Oh, yeah,
meeting
it's
law.
like $10.
them was free. I don't remember if it was open meeting law, but yeah, one of them was free. I can see if I have that. I keep all those, so if I have it, I'll send it.
For this one, which is.
Okay.
so what you're asking is if you can use $10 from the planning commission? You don't have a budget?
I don't think.
No, they didn't request any money for a budget.
They don't request any money.
Education in general.
Budget.
We didn't put anything in.
Okay.
So.
I don't think
We
you,
have.
who's this we?
One elected auditor, town, the town has one elected auditor, and you appointed two auditors, which we're very thankful to have. But none of them have ever audited.
Yeah, maybe.
So, there's a class for $75 that Carolyn Bronze and Phil Bronze think they could take together since they're at the same household. They wanted to know if they had permission to do that and get, we do
I
that
think-
on the clock.
I think that makes sense on our end, and we did put money in for educational purposes.
Ask him if that's-
For the budget.
No, they sent her asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she's asking for.
Provide us.
And we
Asking because they couldn't come.
put in 1,000.
Send it in letter form, so we have record.
No, but they will send,
Yeah.
what we'll do is register them through the town and use the card.
Yep. We put in $1,000 for education.
That's fine.
That seems like both of those would fall under
I
that,
would say that.
as long as you don't come in complaining about our open meetings.
The Northwest CUD, you had said something about having like a monthly or weekly update. Does that need to be like a potential agenda item?
Let's get her here. You mean, zoning administrator?
No, not ZA, the
Okay.
Northwest CUD, that fiberworks thing.
I don't know. Yeah, what were we gonna do on that?
So what we
We wanted an update, but
Yeah.
we really said when.
So just when you request it.
I was gonna say,
Perpetual.
by month, I was gonna say quarter. I think,
It's more than enough, yeah.
yeah, I mean, because pretty much you can see everything that's happening on Main Street now, so.
I'd still consolidate it.
Let's just consolidate,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Others.
Seeing, okay, yep.
I keep forgetting that if that comes into play, don't forget we need a 1099 from him.
Right, right, we've got to, once that comes into play, then we figure out, if we have excess funds from FEMA.
That's
It's from the Halloween storm. I know, yeah, right.
It's that winter when they
2019,
get up that road.
October 31st, November 1st storm.
He'll have to do an update to his personal taxes if we pay him.
Correct. That's not, that's not.
I'm just saying, yeah.
But, no, I agree. But yeah, that's not a,
They're paid, right?
I was gonna say, I don't think it's gonna hit 2019. He'd have to report it in 2024,
Yeah.
Right, 2020, yeah.
yeah,
but that's his to worry about. I make a motion.
Yeah.
To adjourn and move to executive session.
I'll second that.
motion's been moved and seconded.
Adjourn.
No, well, not adjourned.
Hey, you need to executive session. You can't move it.
Yeah.
Executive session.
Right.
You have to say what you're going into executive session for.
So that's the ARPA proposals.
There you go.
I was gonna say, it's even on our agenda.
I know.
Okay,
Good, I'm gonna pause the recording.
yep. The discussions about ARPA are included. No decisions were made during that time, therefore there is no vote or motions that need to be made other than adjournment of today's meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Did you do that with your mic on?
You're gonna make
I
it to an executive.
Right, well, yeah,
make a motion to exit executive session.
I'll second it.
motion's been made and seconded to come out of executive session.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and we didn't vote on the first one.
Oh, sorry.
We can't, we don't have to vote to come out of executive session, but we do have to vote to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. And you.
I know six.
All right, 9:06.
I